Okay, hello students. This is a tutorial, a drawing tutorial for you to complete while I'm away. The tools we'll need for this tutorial are a T-square, your isometric set square. The isometric set square is longer on one side than the other. Okay? Longer on one side than the other. If you have a set square that looks like this, that's the same length here and here, you can't use that one. So put that to the side for now. Isometric set square, your pencil, and your pen. If you're really good, before you start, you can draw a 1 centimeter border around your page. Okay, a 1 centimeter border around your page. And then we're going to line our page up at the top of the board, put our clips in each corner of the sheet, put our T-square in place, and then we can begin. All right, what we're going to draw are some three-dimensional letters, just because they're easy and a good starting point. Okay, so here's where I'm going to begin. In the left-hand side of my page, the bottom left-hand side of my page, I'm going to make a little mark roughly about here. Okay, roughly about there. Doesn't have to be exact, but that's where roughly the point we're going to start. Once you have that little mark, slide your T-square up, line it up with the little mark, and rule a line all the way across the page like this, keeping the T-square against the edge of the board, with the set square against the T-square, slide it over so that it's lined up with that little mark, and rule a line that goes upwards. Okay, easy peasy. Here's where we're going to begin. From this little mark, we're going to draw a grid, then begin to draw some letters. Okay, so my grid, I'm going to line up my set square like this. So the set square begins at 0 and goes up to 100. 0, 100. Okay, millimeters. Then put a little mark at every 20 millimeters. All right, remember in graphics, accuracy is important. So you've got to try and get as close to every 20 millimeters as possible. And it should look like that. 0 to 100. Then on the bottom here, we're going to go 0 to 60 and put a little mark at every 20 millimeters. Righto, now lining up the set square with the little marks, rule lines to go up. You've got parallel lines that go up, and then rule lines that come across. Okay. We make sure the lines that are going up the page like this are straight, because the T-square is against the edge of the board. All right, in this position now, I'm just going to loosely draw in the letter C very lightly so that I can see my letter. Okay, easy, right? I can see my letter. Once I can see my letter, I'm going to use my pen and draw that letter on the page. Okay, I'm going to try and go as quickly as possible. Remember, I want you to try and do this as neatly as possible. So try to just take your time. Hold the tools correctly. Really, at this stage, we're just worried about holding the tools correctly. Again, with my fine liner, I've drawn in a C. Easy. Put the fine liner to the side, grab your pencil again. We're going to measure from there to there. Okay, starting from the end of the C, 40 millimeters, and rule a line that goes upwards. Okay, and then it's exactly like what we just did. Draw another grid. 100 every 20 millimeters. Every 20 millimeters along the bottom. 60, then every 20 millimeters. Create another grid. Create another grid. All right, there's our next grid. And we're going to trace in an A shape. So just lightly in pencil, sketch in where the A will go. So we can see our A. Put the pencil to the side. Grab the fine liner again. And you're going to draw in or pen in the A. I'm trying to be as quick as possible. You've got to be as neat as possible. All right, almost done. All right, there's my letter A. For the final letter, we're going to leave another 40 millimeter gap and begin again, draw a grid again. 60 along the bottom, 100 along the side, every 20 millimeters. We're going to trace in, we're going to draw those lines across. Okay, here's my T. The T should be pretty easy to see, I think. There's the T. T shape. Okay, almost done. All right, on your page now, you should have the word cat drawn in nice, neat block letters. What we're now going to do is turn these into a three-dimensional drawing. We're going to add depth to our letters. So, how to do that? What we need to do is position our set square like this, so that the pointy end of the set square is pointed at the letters. Okay, so when we slide it over, the pointy end is going into the letters. And we look at the corners of our letters. Right, those little corners act as reference points for what we're about to do next. Right, from the corners, we rule parallel lines that go back that look a bit like this. Okay, parallel lines that go back that look like that. Easy, right? Easy peasy. And what we're going to do is measure 20 millimeters again. So if I measure 20 millimeters along here, so not along the bottom, but along the line you just drew, I can do this. I can draw a line that goes up, okay? And then when the line meets like there, I can move my T-square over and rule a line that goes backwards. Same here. Where those two lines meet, I can rule a line that goes backwards. All right, very good. This little line in here, we're also going to measure 20 millimeters over. because that will have a line that goes up. We will see that part of the letter through the little gap there. Okay, cool, right? Rule lines that go backwards, measure 20 millimeters, and then we rule lines that go up, and we find where the lines cross. Once we've done that, rule lines that go backwards, all right, I'm making sure when I do this, the set square is always firmly against the t-square. So drawing the flat letters is definitely the easy part. It becomes a little more challenging when you get to this stage. So all I can say is give it your best go. Practice makes perfect. So if you get upset, just continue, and you got to try and you just got to try and do your thing. So we've made a blocky C shape. We made a three-dimensional C shape. Let's do that again with the A. T-square is pointed in that direction. We find the corners of the A, and we rule lines that are going backwards. Okay, 20 millimeters along this line. Rule a line that goes up. Where the lines meet, there, move the t-square up and rule a line that goes across. Same here, 20 millimeters. Rule a line that goes up. And then you got a little point there. Rule a line that goes backwards. There's our next letter. Okay, we're going to connect the dots. Put the top on the A. There's a little line here. We made a three-dimensional A. Final letter. Three-dimensional T. Find the corners of the T. This one's tricky, so I'm going to measure 20 here. And then rule line goes up. I'm going to measure 20 here. Rule line goes up. Where those lines crisscross. Then go backwards. All right, and there we go. Three-dimensional word cat. All right, that's very good. Hopefully you've got something that looks like that. And the last little thing to make it look a little more three-dimensional is some shading. So I imagine that there's a light source over here pointing this way. And we're going to shade the opposite side to the light source. The way I like to do that is I do little crosshatches, broken lines that look like this. Okay, and I use my set square to do it. So cross-hatching using the set square, you can kind of add a little shaded effect to one side. Alrighty, I've got to do the part here as well. Some cross-hatching. So there's some scratchy lines really. And you shaded one side of your letter there. Alright, I think you get the point. I'll stop the video there. You can shade your letters to look as cool as possible. Yeah, hopefully that worked. And like I said, if it doesn't, it's just practice. You know, we'll continue and we'll get better as we go.